What's up, y'all? This your girl Brittany from She Abundantly at sheabundantly.com. So a couple years ago, I wrote a post called "Shacking Ain't Cracking," just talking about the importance or the significance of commitment. And I proposed this question: if there wasn't supposed to be a difference between our single life and our married life, then why did God create marriage? It's a question to get us to start to think a little bit. Like, if we could just live however we want to live, whatever our feelings is telling us to do as single people, meaning not married, doing what married people do, then what's the point of getting married? I'm not talking about legality. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, because you can file taxes together or something like that. But think about it. God created something in its entirety to be unique, to be holy, meaning to be set apart for special use, special privilege, but ultimately to make him known, you know? And so when you think about it in that sense, you got to realize that your single life and how you live it matters, and it should be some distinction, it should be some separation. There should be some things that should be off limits in a single life versus a married life for the sake of holiness or keeping marriage what it is, set apart for special use. So some things of your life should also be set apart for special use, and it's ultimately to make God known. It's ultimately for the health, for the beauty, for the advancement of you as well. So when I was in a relationship for 4 years, too long, doing what I wanted to do, doing what I felt, still learning and growing, but yet just weak in my faith, like I know many of us are at currently in some area of our lives. We're all on this process. But when I was in that time, when we were just doing what we wanted to do, having each other's bodies, sex, and, even if it was full of conviction or whatever, it was still the act of it. I just remember feeling my faith just ooze out of me, leave my body, leave my mind and my heart. And I'm sure he experienced that too. But because we're immature, we're in this space together, we kind of don't know really where to go from here. We're just together. We're just in this relationship. And what we don't realize is that when we don't operate in faith, when we don't keep God's holy and sacred things as it should be, set aside for special use, we erode our own confidence and our own faith. So this is why a lot of us, after we're living our life, living together before marriage, living how we want to live, we don't really feel as bright as the sun. We don't really feel that connection with God, and all these issues start to pop up. Emotions start to feel like I already got everything of you. What more is there? All these issues start to pop up. Y'all not on the same page in many levels. And I'm not talking about the ups and downs of a relationship, but this is more of a spiritual thing that some of us just can't put our hands on. Like, what is it? This is what it is. The more I sinned with him, the less attractive he became. And I know it was the same for him, towards me. Even if we didn't speak that, I was experiencing that. Because it's like, you are willing to sin with me. You are willing to disregard your commitment to God to be with me. It was so unattractive for myself to do that for myself and for him to do that for me. And so a lot of times we feel like we're falling out of love and stuff. It's because we're not truly loving each other. We're putting each other in danger. Anytime you open up the door or you allow somebody to do something to you, put you in a position to where it's blocking your connection with God in any capacity, that's not loving. It's not a loving action, So this is one of the reasons why, shall I say, I've developed more of a respect for things that God says is mine. Marriage, commitment, my body is his. And if he said this is the context, this is how I want it to be done, it ain't just because he said it, it's because first off, it's how he created it. And anytime you use something outside of his creation, it ain't good for you no more. You can't get the benefits and the blessings out of it. When you try to take a relationship and make up your own rules and say we committed but we're really not committed before God, like you don't get that permission or the blessings from heaven, which is the most important place to receive anything. I'm hoping that it's making sense. That maybe you're feeling distance from this guy or this girl if you're a guy. Maybe you're feeling like, I'm just over it. It's because the sin or the lack of reverence for the holy things of God, like commitment, like marriage, you're not upholding it. And so you're experiencing the effects or the consequences of it. So my suggestion, my encouragement would be pray about it, obviously. But God's going to tell you, like he tells all his children, like his character displays in his book, worship me. Put me first and let me show you how life really should be lived. Let me allow you to experience the best you'll ever have, emotionally, spiritually, physically, if you would just acknowledge me in my word. Don't you trust me? Don't you trust that the reason why I put boundaries around this and I said it's separate and holy is because I got special use for it? It's because I know what I'm talking about. It's because the beauty that you want out of life, it's not going to come doing it how you want to do it. Don't you trust me? And this process is different for everybody, but it's a process. It's a journey that we all must travel. Don't you trust God? It's a question that I'm challenged with daily in different areas in my life. Do you trust me? Do you trust me to help you, girl? Give your relationship to God. Give your heart to God. And trust him because he'll never steer you wrong. I did that. 5 years ago, and I tell you, and I'm not lying to you, I've been living the best life, growing in God emotionally, spiritually, my ups and downs, absolutely, but I would rather go through challenges in the will of God than going through challenges outside of it. It's just better. Y'all stay encouraged. Peace.